Hey, welcome to Flaw Fuel. I'm Frankie, and again, welcome to this channel. So, I guess, first things first, what is Flaw Fuel? What is Flaw Fuel? That question was asked to me. Why did you name this channel Flaw Fuel? And honestly, I heard the word fuel, and because I'm into cars, I'm like, yeah, that sounds amazing. And flaws, we all have flaws. So instantly, to me, it is the fuel that drives us to who we are. Now, in some aspect, you can go with that in either way, considering the fact that flaws are either from somebody else's perspective of you not being perfect in their eyes, or it's maybe a choice that you made in the past and you may feel a little shameful, and that experience, put a little flaw, a little dent in your self-esteem. We all think flaw and we get this nasty, icky feeling in ourselves because it's a word that is used for unsatisfactory, I guess you think about a car, like I said, I'm into cars. So think about a car. You have this mid-condition 67 Mustang, right? And it's gorgeous. It's been left in this air-conditioned and heated storage facility. There's not a scratch on it. It's prestige as if it had just rolled off the lot, and it's 2023. Like, this thing's worth a lot of money. But in real life form, for one, we're not made out of metal, so age is gonna cause some issues no matter what. What is it? 60 some odd years? Like, if I look like this when I'm 60, shit, I would not be sad at all. But that's just not how life works, right? Like, no matter what, as humans age, we get a little tattered up, we get a little dented, we have these experiences that come into our life that create flaws, if you will, and like I said, you could not see it as a flaw, somebody else could see it in you as a flaw, and vice versa. We can't change anybody else, but we all have our own perspective and we all have our own way of viewing things. One man's trash is another man's treasure. Like, luckily we live in America, and if you don't, I'm sorry, but in America, you have the freedom to be you. You have the freedom of speech. You have the freedom of having your own opinions. We have the freedom to pretty much do whatever we want. Now, with saying that, we still have consequences, and consequences can be for the good or the bad. I guess in anywhere in the world, you have the choice to do whatever you want. Again, though, you have the consequence. So flaw fuel. What is flaw fuel? To me, it is the fuel to the flaw. What is the fuel to the flaw? The fuel is your choice. You can either make that flaw be your total power and what you own in yourself. You can take your flaw and fly with it and own your own uniqueness and be the best version that you can be. Or you can take that flaw to comply with everyone else and comply with normal standards and what society thinks you should be. We've all been there, whether or not it was when we were a child or now. And I feel like as I go through some memories of my own, there's things in my childhood that have totally formed how I am today. I woke up thinking about light pink for some reason, and I'm not a big pink person. I'm typically a white and black. And I just had this remembrance of being in this after school program. I had on a pink sweater with a bunny that my grandmother had made for me. And I remember this little boy coming up to me and being like, "Why do you always wear pink? Are you just in love with pink? Why don't you get married to pink?" Because, that was what was going on in the 90s. And I just remember, like, I'm pretty sure after that day, I didn't wear pink ever again. I was totally against pink. And, I was like maybe 5 or 6. I may have even been younger. But it was something that stuck with me. And it just came to mind this morning. And I really let that little boy navigate how my life was going to be for the next 30 some odd years. because you always wear pink. Granted, when you're that age, like, you don't understand. Shoot, it took me like 20 years to even understand that I had control of my own thoughts, and like what other people said didn't mean shit. Like, it takes a little bit, but once you like actually recognize those little things, it's shocking to me. Like, pink is pink. Like, whatever, it's pink. So many dudes wear pink now that I even get a little bit of oh God, why is he wearing that? But it's still something that has totally been inside of me all this time. And I bet you anything, it's from that little shithead who was like, you always wear pink. Why don't you get married to pink? Anyways, sorry about that rant. Going back to flaws. So there you could see, like, that's a flaw. To me, that's a flaw. This is also self-criticism. But I feel like that was a big flaw in my childhood of allowing other people to like dictate how I saw things. It makes me laugh now. And like I said before, you don't know what you don't know. But that was something that totally stuck with me for so long. And I see myself in this repetitive pattern throughout all these years of my life, that I have totally allowed people to dictate the way that I've lived my life. And there's multiple different reasonings behind that, and we'll get into that more. But there's certain things that we don't even know is a flaw that we could redirect and make our lives a little bit easier. But that's part of the journey, and that's why I'm here. And we're just gonna kind of dive deep, and we're gonna see these little things as time goes on. And it's your choice. Like, it's so up to you as to what you do with the knowledge you learn in your life, as to which direction you want to go. It's so up to you as to whether or not you get bogged down by these flaws, by these other perceptions of other people, or if you do like I did, and you go down this rabbit hole of like trying to reinvent yourself, and you get stuck on all these little things that make you, and just like this, allowing people to dictate my life. I had a rough year, a few months, like really getting stuck on all these little things that I started to come to realize of what was wrong with me and how I could be so much better and this and that. And then I had to stop, and I thought about it, and I'm like, you survived your entire life without even thinking about all this shit. Could it have been a little easier? Fuck yeah, it could have been a lot easier. But don't beat yourself up because you realize that you're not the most perfectest person in the world. Nobody's fucking perfect. We all have our own little deflects into our characteristics and our mindsets. It's what you do with it when you learn about whatever this situation is. It's not going to happen overnight. That's another thing. I am so impatient. And so when I see these other videos of these other people and, think positive and be grateful and say your affirmations, and I dove deep into all that. I've always been a pretty positive, optimistic person, but I really dove deep because I'm like, these motherfuckers know what the hell is going on because they've got it so much better. They're on YouTube, they're on TikTok. They clearly know what they're talking about. But there is stuff missing because we all have our own perceptions. I had other things I needed to work on, not just to be positive and grateful, but to work on standing up for myself. That was something that I never did in my life. I had no boundaries. I didn't give a shit. I didn't give a shit. My priorities were on fun and excitement and adventure. And with that and that meaning, I also had to have alcohol involved. So my give a shit meter was totally whatever. The world is going to throw at me what the world throws at me, and I'll figure it out because I always have. And like I said, I survived. I didn't have a bad life, but I see now that if I wouldn't have had that dependence, if you will, on having that liquid courage to be able to go out and do whatever I wanted, I could have maybe found these little characteristics, these little quirks that I needed to work on years ago. And I may be farther. I may not have been farther. Nobody knows because this is my journey and this is where I'm at. So again, don't beat yourself up. Just become aware. And I know, again, it's so hard to become aware if you don't even recognize what is wrong in the first place, especially if things have been going fine this whole time. So, with that, Flaw Fuel is just a channel. It's just a channel where I am going to give you a rundown of my experiences and give you my thoughts on things that come up in my life. Because let me tell you, I am in a whole new lifestyle that I am brand new at. I have been sober for a little bit over a year, give or take. I'm sober-ish. But also, I don't have that dependency of needing to have that beverage or that joint to unwind. I've been working through different techniques to relax myself and come to a mindfulness to kind of, I don't know, figure out life in a new way. So that's where I created Flaw Fuel. I guess more so because I know I have flaws, and I know that a lot of other people have flaws. And I just want you to know that you're not alone. And again, it's up to you what you do with those flaws. Whether or not your flaws fuel you to your next best thing, or they fuel you to stay sane, stay normal, stay safe. No wrong answer here. I just want to be here as a little reminder that if nothing else, life could always be worse. Thanks so much for sticking around this long. There's so much more to go over. If you would hit that subscribe button, and I promise I'll be back very soon with more to share. Have a great day. Bye.